Muhammad Ali's jaw tightened the second he heard it, that low rolling sound of a Vegas crowd turning hostile, the kind of sound that meant someone was about to get hurt, and there were 300 witnesses watching him stand alone in a spotlight with nowhere to hide. Dean Martin wasn't supposed to intervene. His manager had warned him, his sponsors had warned him, even Frank Sinatra had called that morning with one message: stay out of it. But Dean picked up that microphone anyway, and what happened next defined both their lives. The night started 6 hours earlier in a different kind of tension. Dean Martin sat in his dressing room at the Sands, smoking a cigarette and staring at a phone he didn't want to answer. It had been ringing for 20 minutes. He knew who it was. His manager Herman Citron had already called 3 times. The message was always the same. Don't bring Ellie, don't do it. You'll lose sponsors, you'll lose the crowd, you'll lose everything you've built. Dean let it ring. He'd already made his decision 2 weeks ago when he'd seen Muhammad Ali sitting alone in a corner booth at the Polo Lounge, trying to be invisible. The former heavyweight champion of the world, reduced to hiding in dark corners because half of America wanted him in prison and the other half wanted him dead. Ali had refused to be drafted, refused to fight in Vietnam. The government had stripped his title, banned him from boxing, and charged him with draft evasion. Maximum sentence 5 years in federal prison. That night at the Polo Lounge, Dean had walked over, sat down without asking, looked at Ali and said 6 words: "You're coming to my show Friday." Ali had stared at him like he'd spoken a foreign language. Your show? My show? Vegas, Friday night. You're gonna sit in the audience, and then halfway through, I'm bringing you on stage. Why would you do that? Dean had stubbed out his cigarette. Because somebody should. Now it was Friday. The crowd was filing in downstairs. Dean could hear them through the ventilation system, the clink of champagne glasses, the rustle of silk and taffeta, the low murmur of 300 wealthy people settling in for an evening of safe entertainment. They'd come to see Dean Martin, America's lovable drunk, stumble through standards and make them laugh. They hadn't come for politics. They hadn't come for controversy. They definitely hadn't come for Muhammad Ali. A knock on the door. Dean's stage manager Eddie stuck his head in. 5 minutes, Dean. And Ali just arrived. He's in the green room. Looks nervous. He should be. You sure about this? Dean stood, straightened his tuxedo, checked his bow tie in the mirror. No, but I'm doing it anyway. Frank called again. Said he's worried about you. Frank's always worried. He said you're making a mistake. Dean turned from the mirror. Frank made his choice. I'm making mine. Eddie nodded slowly. Okay, but if this goes sideways, just be ready. It's already sideways. That's the whole point. Dean walked out of the dressing room and headed toward the green room. He found Ali sitting alone, wearing a white dinner jacket and black bow tie, hands folded in his lap, staring at the floor. The man who'd proclaimed himself the greatest of all time looked like he was waiting for an execution. You okay? Dean asked. Ali looked up. I don't know why I'm here. Because I asked you to be. Your manager called me yesterday, told me not to come, said it wasn't safe. Dean pulled up a chair, sat down. My manager doesn't make my decisions. Half that crowd out there hates me. I know. They're gonna boo. Probably. So why bring me out there? Dean leaned forward. Because you stood up for what you believe. You gave up everything, your title, your career, your freedom, to stay true to yourself. That takes guts. And I respect guts. Hila's hands tightened. I'm scared, man. I'm tired of being hated. Tired of walking into rooms and watching people walk out. Tired of being called a coward when all I did was tell the truth. I know. Do you really know what it's like? Dean was quiet for a moment. Then he said something he'd never told anyone. 20 years ago I changed my name. You know that. Everyone knows that. I was Dino Crosetti, Italian immigrant kid, worked in a steel mill, spoke broken English. When I tried to make it in entertainment, they told me I'd never succeed with that name. Too foreign, too immigrant, too other. So I became Dean Martin. I sanded off every rough edge. I invented this character, the charming drunk, the safe Italian, the guy who made everyone comfortable, and it worked. I became famous. I became rich. But you know what I gave up? Ali shook his head. The truth. I gave up being real. I've been playing this character for so long, I don't even know who I am anymore. You refused to do that. You said, this is who I am, Muhammad Ali, a man who won't kill for a war I don't believe in, and they crucified you for it. But at least you can look in the mirror and recognize yourself. Ali stared at him. You're telling me you respect me because I didn't do what you did. I'm telling you I respect you because you're braver than I ever was. Eddie appeared in the doorway. Dean, we're on. Dean stood. Ali stood too. Listen, Dean said. When you walk out there, some of them are gonna boo, some are gonna walk out. It's gonna be ugly, but I'm gonna be standing right next to you, and I'm not gonna let them break you. You understand? Ali nodded slowly. Why are you doing this? Because somebody did it for me once, long time ago, and I never forgot it. The showroom at the Sands held 300 people when it was full. Tonight it was beyond full. Standing room only, people packed against the walls, cigarette smoke thick enough to cut with a knife. The stage lights came up. The band started playing. Dean walked out to thunderous applause. He did his usual routine for the first 20 minutes. Sang, Ain't That a Kick in the Head, made jokes about being drunk, pretended to stumble. The crowd ate it up. This was the Dean they loved. Safe, predictable, comfortable. He could see them relaxing into their seats, champagne flowing, laughter building. Then he stopped mid-song, put down the microphone, looked out at the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring someone out here. A friend of mine. Some of you are gonna love it. Some of you aren't, but I'm asking you to give him a chance. The room went quiet, confused. This wasn't part of the act. Please welcome Muhammad Ali. The reaction was instant. Half the room exploded in applause, standing, cheering, genuinely excited. The other half went stone silent. And then the booing started. Low at first, then louder. And then people started standing up, not to applaud, but to leave. A dozen of them, 2 dozen, walking out while Muhammad Ali stood in the wings, watching his nightmare unfold in real time. Dean saw it, saw Ali freeze, saw his jaw tighten, saw the moment a champion realized he was about to be humiliated in front of 300 people. And Dean made his choice. He walked to the edge of the stage, microphone in hand, and waited. The booing continued. People kept walking. The band had gone silent. Everyone was watching to see what would happen next. Hold on, Dean said quietly. The booing didn't stop. Hold on, he said again, louder this time. Slowly, the room began to quiet. People paused mid-exit. The boos faded to murmurs. Dean looked at the people who were leaving, looked at the ones who were booing, and then he said something that would be replayed at both his and Ali's funerals decades later. I invited Muhammad Ali here tonight, not because I agree with everything he's done, not because I think he's perfect, but because he's a human being who deserves to be treated with dignity. You don't have to like him. You don't have to agree with him. But if you're in my showroom, you're gonna show him respect. The room was dead silent now. You know what real courage looks like. It's walking onto a stage knowing half the room wants you gone. Ali just did that. He's standing back there right now, knowing some of you hate him, and he's about to walk out here anyway. That's guts. That's strength. So if you can't show him respect, I'm asking you, as a favor to me, to at least show him the courtesy of silence. Nobody moved. The people who'd been walking out stopped. The ones who'd been booing looked at their shoes. Dean turned to the wings. Come on out, Cham. Muhammad Ali walked onto that stage like he was walking into the ring. Shoulders back, head high. But Dean could see it. The tremor in his hands, the tightness around his eyes. This was costing him everything he had. Dean met him at center stage, put a hand on his shoulder, turned to the audience. You know what Ali and I have in common, Dean said. We both make our living performing for people who don't always want to see who we really are. I hide behind this drunk act. Ali hid behind I'm the greatest. But tonight we're just two guys standing on a stage, being honest with you. He turned to Ali. You wanna say anything? Ali took the microphone. His hand was shaking slightly, but his voice came out steady. I just want to thank Dean for having me here. I know I'm not everybody's favorite person right now. I know what people say about me. Draft dodger, coward, traitor. But I'm not any of those things. I'm a man who believes killing is wrong. I'm a man who won't fight in a war I don't believe in. And if that makes me unpopular, I can live with that. But I won't live with going against my conscience. The room was silent. Not hostile now, just listening. I lost my title. Ali continued. I might go to prison. I might never fight again. But I can sleep at night, knowing I didn't betray what I believe. And Dean here, he's risking his career just by having me on this stage. That's friendship. That's courage. So thank you, Dean. Thank you for seeing me as a person. Dean took the microphone back. You know what? Let's lighten this up. Ali, you ever sing? Ali laughed. A real laugh. The first genuine smile Dean had seen from him all night. Man, I can't sing. Neither can I, but I've made millions at it. Come on, we'll do a duet. And they did. It was terrible. Ali couldn't hold a note to save his life. Dean pretended to be drunker than usual to make Ali look better. The band was barely keeping up, but something shifted in that room. People started laughing. Not at Ali, with him, with both of them. By the time the song ended, the whole room was applauding. Even the people who'd started to walk out were back in their seats, clapping. Dean shook Ali's hand. Ladies and gentlemen, Muhammad Ali, the heavyweight champion of the world. No matter what anybody says, Ali walked off stage to genuine applause, not universal. Some people still sat with their arms crossed, but enough. Enough that he could walk off, with his head high. Backstage, Ali found Dean in his dressing room 20 minutes later. Dean was changing out of his tuxedo, tie already off, cigarette burning in an ashtray. Thank you, Ali said. You already thanked me. No, I mean really. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. Dean pulled on a regular shirt. Yes, I did. Why? Dean sat down, looked at Ali. Can I tell you something, and this stays between us? Ali nodded. I'm dying inside, Dean said quietly. Every night I go out there and play this character. The drunk, the clown, the safe Italian who makes everyone laugh. And I hate it. I hate that I sold out. I hate that I chose comfort over truth. You chose truth. Over everything. You chose it over money, over fame, over freedom. And watching you do that, it made me realize I've been a coward for 20 years. You're not a coward. You just stood up for me in front of 300 people. That's the first brave thing I've done in 2 decades. You've been doing it every day. Ali sat down. They were quiet for a moment. Then Ali said, I need help. With what? Money. Business. I don't know who to trust anymore. My manager takes too much. My promoter lies about ticket sales. People are stealing from me, and I don't even know how to prove it. Dean stubbed out his cigarette. I know people, good people, honest accountants, lawyers who work for you, not against you. I can introduce you. We'll go through your contracts, figure out who's stealing and how much. Why would you do that? Because someone did it for me. 25 years ago, I was broke, making thousands of dollars a night and seeing pennies. One of Frank's people sat me down and showed me how I was being robbed, changed my life. So I'm paying it forward. Ali looked like he might cry. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything. Just promise me something. What? Keep being you. Keep telling the truth. Don't let them break you, because the world needs people like you more than it needs people like me. You're wrong about that. No, Dean said. I'm not, but I'm trying to be better. Tonight was the start. Over the next 3 months, Dean kept his promise. He introduced Ali to his financial team. They went through every contract Ali had signed. They found exactly what Dean suspected. Ali's manager was taking 43% of his earnings. His promoter was underreporting ticket sales by 30 to 40%. His accountant had money in accounts Ali didn't even know existed. Between all of them, they'd stolen over $2 million. $2 million that should have been Ali's. Dean's lawyers threatened legal action. Within 2 weeks, Ali had a new management team, new contracts, real protection. He'd lost the $2 million. That was gone forever. But at least moving forward, he'd keep what he earned. Ali called Dean the day the contracts were signed. I owe you my life. You don't owe me anything. I owe you everything. They were robbing me blind, and I didn't even know it. That's how the system works. It eats people who don't have protection. Now you have protection. Because of you. Because you deserved it. 4 months later, Muhammad Ali's draft evasion conviction was appealed. In 1971, the Supreme Court overturned it. He was free, vindicated, ready to return to boxing. His first fight back was October 1970 against Jerry Quarry. Ali won by TKO in the 3rd round. After the fight, he grabbed the microphone in the center of the ring. I want to thank someone, Ali said to the cameras. Dean Martin. When everyone turned their back on me, when I had nothing, when people were calling me a coward and a traitor, Dean stood by me. He put me on his stage. He introduced me to people who saved me from financial ruin. He showed me what real friendship looks like. Dean, if you're watching, thank you. Thank you for seeing me as a person. Thank you for having courage when I needed it most. Dean was watching at home in Los Angeles, and he cried. Not sad crying, proud crying, because Ali had survived, had fought back, had won. They stayed close for the rest of their lives. Didn't see each other often, different schedules, different worlds, but they called, sent letters, showed up for the important moments. When Dean's son, Dean Paul, died in a plane crash in 1987, Ali flew to Los Angeles for the funeral, sat with the family, didn't say much, just was there, present, supporting the man who'd supported him 20 years earlier. When Ali's Parkinson's got bad in the 90s, Dean visited him in Michigan. They sat together, 2 old men who'd fought their battles and paid their prices. You know what I remember most about that night? Ali asked. His speech was slow now, affected by the disease. What? Your hand on my shoulder. When I walked onto that stage and heard the booing, I almost turned around, almost ran. But then I felt your hand on my shoulder, and I knew I wasn't alone. That kept me going. Dean's voice was rough. You were never alone. Not that night. Not ever. You changed my life, man. No, you changed mine. They sat in comfortable silence. 2 men who'd learned that the most important victories weren't in the ring or on the stage. They were in the connections you made, the people you helped, the moments when you chose truth over safety. Dean Martin died on Christmas Day, 1995. Ali was too sick to attend the funeral, but he sent a letter, read by Dean's daughter. Dean Martin saw me when I was invisible. The letter said, he heard me when I was being ignored. He believed in me when the world wanted to destroy me. He used his platform to protect someone who had none. He risked his career to defend someone who couldn't defend himself. That's not just friendship. That's love. That's courage. That's what it means to be a good person. I will miss him every day, but I will honor him by continuing to speak truth, by continuing to stand up, by continuing to help people who need help. That's what Dean taught me. That's his legacy. When Muhammad Ali died in 2016, Dean's children attended the funeral, all of them. They sat with Ali's family, shared stories about their father's friendship, about the night in Vegas that started it all, about decades of mutual support that followed. At the funeral, a clip from that 1968 Vegas performance played on screens throughout the arena. The moment when Dean stood next to Ali, while the room booed. The moment when he said, "If you're in my showroom, you're gonna show him respect." The moment when everything changed. That clip has been viewed millions of times since, studied in communication classes, referenced in documentaries, held up as an example of what courage looks like, what friendship looks like, what it means to use your power to protect someone who has none. Dean Martin wasn't just a singer who played drunk. He was a man who saw injustice and spoke up, who helped people in private, who risked his career to defend someone being persecuted, who chose truth over safety. Muhammad Ali wasn't just a boxer. He was a man who demanded respect, who refused to compromise his principles, who accepted help when he needed it, who built real friendships across every divide. Together they showed what's possible when we choose honesty, when we choose courage, when we choose each other over comfort. 300 people watched them that night in Vegas. What happened next changed everything, not just for them, but for everyone watching. That moment proved that honest support can transform conflict, that standing next to someone when the whole room wants them gone is the truest test of character, that powerful people can choose to lift up those being pushed down. Dean and Ali started as strangers, became friends, supported each other through decades, changed each other's lives, and in doing so they showed America what real courage looks like. If you enjoyed spending this time here, I'd be grateful if you'd consider subscribing. A simple like also helps more than you'd think. And if you want to know what happened the night Frank Sinatra finally admitted Dean was right about Ali, tell me in the comments. Some stories are worth sharing.